Hey everybody, Poppin here with a Week 7 and kind of general season overview of the VBL-N. The regular season just ended for me at least. We have a couple more games that need to be played before we determine the playoffs, but I managed to clinch the playoffs by having a perfect 7-0 season, which was incredibly lucky. Definitely didn't deserve some of the wins that I got. And I got a forfeit from Carboni because he was having many issues with the sports server, and I feel so bad for him. I mean, it took weeks to try to figure out what was wrong, and could never get around to the resolution. So he ultimately had a forfeit, which is unfortunate. I would have rather played him and lost than take a forfeit win, but that's kind of how things ended up being. So first, this is just going to be kind of a review of my Week 7 game. In post, I played this earlier this morning. I built this team a couple days ago, and so yeah. So this team was against Cobra, the final opponent for me, and he had a pretty scary team. I don't have it pulled up anywhere, but it was really physically focused with a couple special attackers, Toxicity and Gastrodon, but mainly focused on physical offense. He had Mega Heracross, the strongest physical attacker in the format. Who else did he have? Arcanine, which can go mixed, but he has Whimsicott, so you would see probably like a beat-up Justified Arcanine. Terrakion, beat up Justified stuff. Who else was there? A couple other things, but yeah, mainly a very physically focused team. So the squad that I ended up bringing against it was... Oh, he also had like a Rhyperior and Bronzong for a strong Trick Room mode. And I thought that he thought that I would try to outspeed him and be successful, because I probably would have if I had brought Illumise here, which I usually ended up bringing most weeks, but I didn't bring this week because I thought that he would go Trick Room. So I figured that I wouldn't need Illumise, which turned out to be a big mistake. It made things much more difficult to not have Illumise against this team, especially because he ended up bringing a lot of the special attackers against all my guys who were all like physically invested, and having something that could throw up a light screen really quick would have been very nice to have, and then send out a struggle bug, something like that. But anyways, I spoiled it earlier, I ended up winning. So I guess we'll go over my sets real quick. Metagross and Diancie. The team was very fairy weak as a whole, and really the only fairy that I can remember off the top of my head was Toxicity, which has that sweet 4x ground weakness. So Earth Power, Moonblast, Diamond Storm hits and kills pretty much everything on that team. Arcanine also resisted the Moonblast, so that's what Diamond Storm's for. He also had Articuno, Galarian Articuno, that was another thing. Diamond Storm also kills that, I think, after Weakness Policy boost, even with no attack investment. Naive here to get up to speed, to outspeed everything besides, like, Whimsicott and Terrakion after a Bulldoze for Mega Metagross. Metagross, however, was sped-crept to outspeed Terrakion, everything except for Whimsicott. But just right off the bat, I should have known this wouldn't work. I don't know why I tried it. I just had a lot of faith in these two together, but I should not have brought Metagross to this matchup. This should have been, let's think about it. It should have been either Illumise for extra support in the fast mode, or I should have brought a Trick Room mode, slapped Trick Room on Diancie over Earth Power, and brought Escavalier here. But I went with Metagross. This, as I said, did not end up working. Because if you try to do... Metagross can't outspeed Whimsicott no matter what. If I go for Bulldoze, Whimsicott will already have a Tailwind off. I'll be getting outspeed by everything on his team, which can then either just ignore Metagross, and like Dracovish was another option he had, could just ignore Metagross, KO Diancie with a Vicious Rend, or just completely just invalidate my pseudo speed control Bulldoze. So I don't know why I tried to force this. This was a bad idea. Don't do this again, me. Urshifu was here. Urshifu I thought was a really good option here. It's a good kind of... Whimsicott was really tough for me to deal with. This was kind of a Whimsicott check compared with Wartortle. If I could fake it out and then I can hit it if it doesn't have a sash, which it usually will have a sash, but I don't remember if this Whimsicott actually... I probably did. Yeah, I think it did. But hit it with a fake out. If it doesn't protect, it'll die from a fake out plus a poison jab. If it does protect, it'll go down to 1 HP, which I can take out with an Icy Wind next turn or something like that. Or if it was... Well, I was thinking about putting Wartortle at max speed, but I needed these EVs to live some important hits, and there was no way I was going to make it fast. So I kind of just had... If I was to build this team now, I would go back and just go all in on Trick Room, because my Trick Room mode could also beat his. but my fast mode is not as good as his. I mean, Whimsicott is just like the perfect prankster, and it kind of just went to show. In all 3 of these games, I had to struggle and stall out Tailwind turns because I did not have my own Tailwind or Trick Room. This was a bad idea. This was not a good team. This was a bad team with a couple good mods on it that ended up working out. So yeah, Urshifu and War Turtle were kind of my dedicated leads. They could also stop Trick Room from Bronzong. I could fake out plus Wicked Blow. Wicked Blow wouldn't OHKO it, but I could get 2. I could if it went for Protect, fake out Wicked Blow, always 2 OHKO. If it doesn't go for Protect, it gets faked out and Wicked Blow, so let's get a Trick Room either way. It still has 2 hits either way. Urshifu with the Sash is very useful. War Turtle with the Follow Me is very good support with Urshifu. It's crazy. We're going to go through the game turn a bit, and he actually, because I didn't think many of his team members would have spread moves, but Articuno brought Hyper Voice, which I didn't even know it learned that, and that was a really key piece to him winning game 1. Volcanian's here because it's Volcanian, very, very good. EV to live every hit on his team, lives a Life Orb, modest Toxtricity Overdrive with this. It lives a Terrakion Rock Slide, but not Stone Edge, because nobody runs Stone Edge. Heat Wave, 2 hit KOs Bronzong. Actually, no, it doesn't. If it's not like max speed F Bronzong, 2 hit KOs it. Steam Eruption is just good damage. I'm sad I didn't get to use this. Power Herb Solar Beam was for Gastrodon, because Volcanion, despite like having Solar Beam as an option, is really, really bad against other water types, unless you run a Power Herb or something like that, or have it in the sun. So I would not like to get blanked by a water type that is sucking up my Steam Eruptions and getting boosted Earth Powers. I think this also lives a regular Earth Power from Gastrodon. And last we have Granbull here. Granbull was a really, really, really good mon to bring into this matchup. If I had supported it better with just any kind of speed control at all, it would have been a lot better. Because its physical typing is immune to dragon moves. It can live a Dracovish, Vicious Rend, I think, if it's intimidated. It lives anything from Mega Heracross. It lives... what else does it do? What other physical attackers were there? I can't really remember. But this also lives a +2 competitive Articuno Freezing Glare, the Assault Vest. It also lives a Toxtricity Life Orb Modest Sludge Bomb. So overall, Granbull was a pretty good piece, or it would have been even better if he had brought more physical attackers, but I think he prepped for this pretty well. Player off for damage, Water Pulse, which it actually did the most damage against Rhyperior if you were to bring it. Crunch for Articuno, and Super Fang for anything that any of those other moves couldn't hit. So, oh, spoilers, I lose game 1, what? So, we'll go really quick, we'll just go through each of these games. Alright, so, let's see here. Come on. Volcanian. Alright, so I led off with War Turtle and Volcanian. I don't really know why. I think the goal was to fake out Whimsicott and hit it with a Heat Wave and then hit it with another Heat Wave the next turn. But I should have known that it would be able to... I don't know what I was thinking here, honestly. I think I just kind of got frazzled. But we see Toxtricity Articuno, and I believe I fake out the Toxtricity here and go for a Heat Wave just to get damage off, completely forgetting that Articuno has Tailwind. So that kind of sucks. So he gets the Tailwind off. His team is now way faster than mine. Heat Wave does a good bit, more than 50% on Toxtricity. I go for the Follow Me here, and this is what's crazy. He goes for a Hyper Voice here, so that I can't live the Overdrive with Volcanion anymore, which is super important, because this is calced to just barely, like I think at 1 HP live the Overdrive, but if I'm at 72%, I'm dead. And I didn't even know Articuno got a spread move. Maybe Air Cutter, but not Hyper Voice, so that was a super good play on Cobra's part. And then, like I said earlier, Overdrive comes, does all of my HP, does 58% here. This is the other thing that comes into play later. So you see it put me down to 21%. Later on, I go back and I checked in this game to see how much damage Overdrive did to War Turtle. And I saw that it did 21% and thought, oh, I'll be fine. Even though I probably should have thought that probably doesn't really pass the sniff test. You know, Overdrive should not be doing 21% to a War Turtle. It actually does 58%. And that'll bite me in the ass later. Alright, Throat Spray goes up. Toxtricity can now pretty much kill everything. Metagross is slow as shit compared to their team now. I just gotta go for the Mega. I go Protect, just to try to stall out the Tailwind. And I don't get the kill with Aqua Jet. Things might have gone differently if I had actually gotten the kill there. I bet that would probably be a roll. I'm not entirely sure though. Grand Bull comes in, gets the +2, and it gets the Adrenaline Orb, which is so cool. He definitely prepped well for Grand Bull. Freezing Glare does a lot of damage, but Overdrive does enough. Kills me. I do 1 damage with Stomping Tantrum. Awesome. At this point, I knew I was dead. That was the game, and I get killed by a Vicious Rend here. So I realized that Articuno's a threat, and I have no way of beating his Tailwind with that lead that I did. So, coming to game 2, let's go ahead and switch sides. Alright, let's see what I do here. I mean, I know what I do here. Whimsicott and Dracovish come out. Shell Shocker and Urshifu come out. Oops, well, there we go. I go for the Fake Out, and I believe the Poison Jab onto Whimsicott just to guarantee the KO, so I have speed control. I knew that both my mons would go before Dracovish here, so I wasn't worried about Vicious Rend at all. And I mean, Wartortle's never worried about Vicious Rend, so that's really strong. I would bet that was probably banded Dracovish, considering how much damage that did, even going second. Banded with Strongjaw, because that did a lot of damage. And Urshifu's a very bulky mon on the physical side. Special side, kind of a piece of paper. So from here, I know that I'm pretty much completely safe. So I think I actually switch. Do I switch? No, I don't. I just get Follow Me. I start going for Wicked Blows. Does just at 50% for Arcanine. Thankfully, just go for Heat Wave. Just goes for Flamethrower. And Wartortle just eats these up. Toxtricity comes in here. Follow Me again. I get to go for the Wicked Blow. It doesn't kill because he has Leftovers Arcanine, a very, very bulky set. Usually that Wicked Blow would KO. Thankfully, I have the Aqua Jet here, can take it out before it does anything. Punch the Toxtricity in the face, it goes down. And we just have a sad Dracovish that has no means of dealing damage to me because I have a Wartortle. So, yeah, Wartortle is an absolute beast. It might be the unsung hero of my team. It's not flashy, had the same, 4 moves every week, but it did such a good job. Final game, we go out, and I figure he's probably going to try something nasty with Whimsicott or Articuno because it did so well for him the first game. And I lead Wartortle and Urshifu because it worked out well, and it's pretty much my only answer to Tailwind. So here, what happens here? Yeah, we get a Protect. That's right. And I kind of just do the same thing I did last game. I just eliminate the Tailwind right off the bat. Fake Out plus Wicked Blow. Whimsicott comes in here. I go for a Follow Me. I was expecting I was expecting the Tailwind, so I just go for the Poison Jab just to kind of get some damage off. But thankfully, I hadn't even considered this. It goes for the Beat Up. And thankfully, I draw on the Beat Up, take no damage at all. Severely weaken the Terrakion, take no damage for the Sacred Sword. And then I get the Almost Oko because of the Sash. From here, it's just a matter of Aqua Jetting and then close combating. I don't know why I went for Earthquake there. I wonder what the thought process there was. If he had been able to take out my... I don't know if that would have KO'd with a non-boosted Sacred Sword. It probably wouldn't have. So at this point, he has Tailwind up. This monster's back in. And this is where I went back to the game and said, oh, it only does 21%. I'll be fine. I'll go for an Icy Wind, slow it down, and then I might be able to outspeed it even in Tailwind, which, 1, was wrong. 2, was a bad idea. 3, should have just gone for Aqua Jet. So thankfully here, I did realize that my win condition here was to stall out Tailwind. Urshifu doesn't have Protect this week, but my Grand Bull can live 1 hit, and Volcanion does have Protect, so I need to send them in as Death Fodder. And that's exactly what I do. Because that's... Toxtricity's strong and Overdrive's great, but it can't kill 3 of my... It can't kill 3 mons in 3 turns. Or 3 mons in 2 turns. So... Protect there, Overdrive... And anything Grand Bull does here is really just kind of irrelevant. If I'd had a ground move, it could have killed that turn. But then the Overdrive goes off against both of me. Tailwind goes down. Urshifu comes in and blasts him in the face. And that's a victory. So, very, very close. Toxtricity is an absolute monster. It's very, very, very good in a non-max format. I was looking at it before the draft started, but I think he made great use of it. I didn't really pay too much attention to the other games in the league this season. I'll probably go back and watch some of them before playoffs. Got to do some opposition research, you know. But I also want to go back and see how Cobra used Toxtricity because I think it was a very good pickup and it did great on his team. So, kind of just a team recap overall. We'll take a look. I did make all 4 transactions. I switched out. Did I make all 4? Escavalier was there at the start. Marowak was. Maybe I didn't switch all 4. Maybe I just did 2. Oh no, I did. I did Mega. Okay, so I switched Kangaskhan for Grand Bull. I switched Pythagoras and Mega Latios for Dust Noir and Mega Metagross. Okay, I had one left. I was considering swapping out Furret, but I'm glad I didn't because I don't want anybody else to have Furret. If I can not face Furret just by drafting it myself, I will do that. Because I think, even though I didn't use very much, because Wartortle is kind of just a better option, Frisk plus Follow Me is so good. I would expect to see that in playoffs, just because it's more high stakes and I want as much information as possible. So kind of going over my team. My team was incredibly top heavy. Mega Metagross, Urshifu. So obviously, Volcanion shows up 14 times. Wartortle 10. And then from there, where's Illumise? Illumise shows up 7. Urshifu shows up 9. Metagross 5, even though I picked it up a couple games in. Then we have Furret 1, Superior 4 times. Diancie 3 times. Dusknoir never showed up. Marowak. This is 2 seasons in a row where I've drafted Marowak and never used it. And Scavalier showed up twice, but put in a huge amount of work when it did. And then if you go to the overall stats of the season, Volcanion has a bonkers 24 kills and a plus 17 KD ratio. This was a lot better before today. It had only 4 deaths, but I had to kill it 3 times in this game just to stall out Toxtricity. So it's definitely a wand that surprised me. I was kind of not looking forward to using it because it's just it's ugly as sin. I think I don't know what it's supposed to be. I don't like its design, but a fire water type is so cool, and I wanted to use it. It has 130 special attack, great moves, just in pretty badass stat distribution. It's super bulky physically. You can run a assault vest and be totally fine. I don't know. I just thought it was really cool, and it put in dividends for me. Being the kill leader, KD leader, not the death leader, especially not after this week. This was kind of a massacre for Volcanion. Who else we got here? None of my other guys show up here. Yeah, but like I was kind of saying, my team was pretty top-heavy. I didn't go for Trick Room very often. I've definitely kind of found myself leaning away from Trick Room. Just over the course of all my draft experiences, I tend to like to go fast. I'm not much of a Trick Room abuser, and that kind of pushes me into a corner, I think, because I think at this point my opponents know that. They know that I prefer going fast than playing in Trick Room, and Trick Room teams have historically done very well against me. But thankfully, I was able to kind of skirt around that. I'm not sure if that was just I'm not sure if that was like a format thing. Maybe people wanted to try new things that weren't Trick Room. Not entirely sure, but let's go back to my other games. Let's see. Sticky didn't use Trick Room. Steve didn't use Trick Room. Raph didn't use Trick Room. I used Trick Room against Raph. Oh no, I didn't. That was the weather game. Casey did use Trick Room, and I had to stall it out, which was a rough fucking time. That was not fun. This was the forfeit game, unfortunately, and this was the game where I didn't bring any speed control at all, and had to just fucking slog through and just sack 3 mons to not die to Toxtricity. So yeah, note to self: never don't bring speed control. That was a dumb move. I guess just overall things that I liked for my team so far. I really like Urshifu having essentially a one-hit KO button. I love always having that. Porygon Z, Urshifu, it's so much fun. Metagross is super cool. I plan to be using it a lot more. I want to use it in the playoffs, do some other kind of wacky stuff with it. Now that I've clinched playoffs, that's kind of my goal each season. I just want to make it to playoffs and then do weird stuff from there. So, oh shit. Who knows if I'll be a tryhard or just have fun with it. Superior, I didn't bring as much as I wanted. I love Superior. Leaf Storm is so scary, but there's so many things that just resist grass. It makes it kind of hard to use. Furret, I would have liked to bring more than if I didn't have Wartortle, I would have brought Furret a lot more. But Wartortle, I hadn't even thought of in my original draft plan. I just saw it, picked it up, and it's so... Like, I would have literally... If I didn't get Wartortle and I had seen what it could do, I would have picked up Squirtle instead and still had a great time with it. It's just so incredibly... It's just so... Like, my Season 3 VBL draft, I wanted to call it Roll Compression, which didn't end up really working out. But Wartortle is Roll Compression. Follow Me. Fake Out. Team Support with Icy Wind. Priority. Spread moves with Surf. Healing Volcanion with Surf or Life Dew. It's so good. And there's tons of stuff that I even try with Wartortle. I did Haze on it one week to block stat drops. It was so cool. Diancie I liked. I have this thing wrong with my brain, I think, where I just like to make slow mons go fast, like Rock Guru. And I try to do the same thing with Diancie here, but a little spoiler for the playoffs, I may try to actually embrace the fact that this thing's pretty damn slow. Dusknoir didn't bring. Marowak I didn't bring. Grand Bull I liked. I will bring it some more if it calls for. Having a fairy type Intimidator is actually, I think, really good, especially one that has just high natural attack. So you don't have to invest in it to still have it be a threat. And it also has it's a pretty good Assault Vest candidate. It's middling physical defense. It gets helped out, but it's kind of like having a double +1 here and here. It's kind of like having a Violite, right? As long as you just can't run Protect. I mean, Granbull doesn't have any other good status moves besides Protect, as far as I'm aware. So, yeah, it's Charm, but it's dog shit slow. But yeah, I like Granbull. Scavalier's pretty cool. Again, I like having it so that no one else can use it against me. I don't really know what else there is to say. I've really liked my team. I'm looking forward to going through the playoffs with it. Still don't know who I'm going to... Actually, let's see. Because I think what we're going to be doing is... ranking? Yeah. I think we're going to be doing cross divisions. So I think number 1 of us will play number 4 of Intrepid. And... what is that? 7. Are they all done? Oh, wow, they're all done. So I guess I'll be playing Canner in the quarterfinals. And I think Steve gets bumped up because Carboni has to forfeit because he can't get access to sports anymore. Yeah, so the only game left to be played looks like it's Braff versus... Oh, Braff versus Steve. Right? Yeah. Cool. So, playoffs are pretty much decided, I think. I don't... If Braff loses 2-0 to Steve, then Steve would be number 3, but we'll have to see. So, I'll be playing Canner next week, it looks like. So I'll have to prep against his scary-ass Psychic Terrain team and Mega Alakazam and all that fun shit. So, expect to see Urshifu, and expect to see Urshifu die to Dazzling Wing. So, I will see you guys in the next video, whenever that comes out. Peace.